Hello, good morning students. Today we can see about the next type of arrhythmias, that's of ventricular dysarrhythmias. We already studied about the classifications of ventricular dysarrhythmias. It's like that. First classification is premature ventricular contractions. Again, that premature ventricular contractions that is classified as uniform type, multiform type, bigeminy, trigeminy, quadrigeminy, ventricular couplets, and interpolated type PVCs. Next is ventricular tachycardia. This ventricular tachycardia again subdivided as monomorphic type and polymorphic type. Next one is idioventricular rhythm. Next type is accelerated idioventricular rhythm. Next type is torsade de pointis. Next type is ventricular asystole or ventricular standstill. Next one is ventricular fibrillation. This is all about the classification of ventricular dysarrhythmias. As you all know, ventricular dysarrhythmia means the dysarrhythmias that originating there in the ventricles. It's associated with ventricles. That's of ventricular dysarrhythmias. Among these, we can see the first type, that is premature ventricular contractions. Usually we mention it as PVCs. Is a depolarization that arises either ventricle before the next expected sinus beat, that is the premature ventricular contractions. Depolarization that arises either ventricles before the next expected sinus beat. That's why it's labeled as premature. Prematurely that will occur. They are generally easy to detect, this type of premature ventricular contractions, because its QRS is wide and it's bizarre looking. Since these PVCs that originate in the ventricle, the normal sequence of ventricle depolarization is altered. For example, we can say it's like that. Instead of the two ventricles depolarizing simultaneously, a PVC will cause the ventricle to depolarize at different times. Both are not depolarizing simultaneously, but they are depolarizing at different times, or sequentially they are depolarizing. The conduction will occur more slowly through the myocardium than through the specialized conduction pathways. This results in a wide, that means greater than 0.12 seconds QRS and bizarre QRSs. Then again we can say it's like that, the sequence of the repolarization that also altered. Repolarization also altered. That resulting changes in ST segment and T wave. That is, this ST segment and T wave in a direction opposite to the QRS complex. Then after the PVCs, we can just notice there is a short pause before the next QRS. That's another character. This is called a compensatory pause. The compensatory pause may or may not be present. Again, we can see the PVC patterns. That means the types or the classification under PVC. That's so ventricular bigeminy. That means the premature ventricular contractions occurs every other beat. Ventricular trigeminy means the premature ventricular contractions occurs every third beat. Ventricular quadrigeminy means premature ventricular contractions occurs every fourth beat. Then couplets means two PVCs together it will occur. Then runs of ventricular tachycardia, one type is there. That is 3 or more PVCs in a row. That way it will occur. That is called runs of ventricular tachycardia. And if the main types are uniform pattern, multiform, bigeminy, trigeminy, quadrigeminy, ventricular couplets and interpolated PVCs. We can discuss one by one. First one is uniform premature ventricular contractions. When a PVC that originates from a single focus, its morphology or the waveform characteristics look the same each time. Then when a PVC looks the same each time, it is called unifocal PVC. Because it's originating from the same area or originating from one area. All of the PVCs from a unifocal source that are identical in appearance. That's about uniform PVCs. You just observe a diagram of or ECG diagram of your single or uniform PVC. You can call it a single PVC also, single uniform PVC. You see the arrow mark. Okay, we can move to next type. That's of multiform PVC. Opposite of uniform PVC is multiform PVC. In this case, there is greater irritability in the ventricles. There are several ventricular foci. They may initiate ectopic beats. The multiple PVCs, this will occur if more than one ectopic area, and all this will initiate the ventricular beats. If a ventricular foci initiating a PVC, in each side it produces a slightly different looking PVC waves. There are multiple focus, and in ECG strip we can observe slightly different looking PVC waveforms. That's a special character. Different types of, slightly different types of PVC waveforms you can observe. The ECG criteria that is basically same as that of uniform PVCs. These multiform PVCs are considered to be very dangerous when compared to the unifocal PVCs. This represents a greater amount of myocardial irritability. That's why it's very dangerous. Just observe in ECG strip of multiform premature ventricle complexes or contractions. Normally, conducted QRS complex exhibit a left bundle branch block counter-arrowed. That is a left ventricular bundle branch block. Later we will be discussing about that. That is followed by the PVCs. In 3 different morphology, you can see the PVCs in that ECG strip. Observe the strip and find out the difference. Okay, we can move to next type of premature ventricular contraction. That's ventricular bigeminy. The term ventricular bigeminy that is used for a grouped beating pattern. when every other beat is a PVC. In an ECG strip, every other beat is a PVC. It's not considering any underlying rhythm. Every other beat is a PVC. In that, we can see a PVC. After PVC, there is a normal beat. Then again a PVC. This is the pattern of bigeminy. Observe a diagrammatic representation or ECG strip of bigeminal PVC. That you can see every other beat is a PVC. One normal beat and the next beat is a PVC. Like that. Okay, we can move to the next one. That's a ventricular trigeminy. That means every third beat is a PVC. That time we are using the term ventricular trigeminy. Next type you can see, that's a ventricular quadrigeminy. That means every fourth beat is a PVC. These two conditions are rare, trigeminy and quadrigeminy. Now move to next PVC, that's a couplet type. The PVCs that may occur in sessions. That means when this happens, the PVCs are called couplets. Just observe the strip and find out. Together it's coming. That's why it's called as couplets. Occurs in pairs. The PVCs occurs in pairs. 2 is coming. That's why this type is called couplets. Okay, move to next types. That is of interpolated PVC. So you can see the diagram. This is an example of interpolated PVC. The heart rate in this example is 68 beats per minute. The first, the second, fourth, fifth and sixth beats are normal and the third beat is a PVC. An interpolated PVC is that one in which a sandwiched, that is PVC sandwiched between two normal beats. Therefore, does not have a compensatory pause after the PVC. Observe the ECG. Sandwiched between two normal beats. So, does not have a compensatory pause after the PVC. This is because the P wave that is hidden in the QRS complex, that P wave is still conducted to the ventricles. Actually, you can't see that. It's hidden in the QRS complex, is still conducted into the ventricles and cause them to contract, although there may be a slight delay. That's the problem. P wave is there, can't see it. Observe it's on ECG, still conducted to the ventricles and cause that ventricle to contract. That's about interpolated PVC. Okay, we can move to next phenomenon, that's the R on T phenomenon. For that also, you can observe some diagrams. The T wave is a sensitive or vulnerable area in the cardiac electrical cycle. You remember that the heart is now repolarizing and does not like to be stimulated at this time. When T wave is there, it's not like to be stimulated. If an early ventricular beat coming on top or near the T wave, the early beat could throw the heart into an uncontrollable repetitive pattern that is called ventricular tachycardia. Actually, that's a repolarizing time. No, it should not be get stimulated. But a ventricular beat is coming. So on the top of the or near to the T wave, the early beat could throw the heart into an uncontrollable repetitive pattern. The term R-on-T phenomenon is used whenever an early ventricular beat lies near the vulnerable T wave. Early detection can help prevent our patient from developing a life-threatening rhythm. Otherwise, actually, it's a life-threatening rhythm, R-on-T phenomenon. A clinical significant PVC, that is R-on-T phenomenon. You can observe R-on-T phenomenon, sinus beta, ventricular tachycardia you can see. After that, there is ventricular tachycardia. R-on-T wave means the after effect is ventricular tachycardia. Now we can see about the possible causes of PVCs in common. In general, we can see the causes of PVCs. That's the caffeine use, tobacco use, alcohol use, digoxin toxicity, exercise, hypocalcemia, hyperkalemia, new developed MI, then pro-arrhythmic effect of anti-arrhythmic agents or drugs. These all considered to be some possible causes of PVCs. Now we can see about the signs and symptoms of PVCs. Palpitations, weakness, dizziness, hypotension. These all considered to be some signs and symptoms of PVCs. Now we can see the ECG criteria. Observe one of the PVC. In that we can see the ventricular and atrial rate that depends on the underlying rhythm. Which is the rhythm on that? The ventricular and the atrial rate. Ventricular and atrial rhythm that's irregular due to early QRS, creating one RR interval that is shorter than the others. The PP interval may be regular, indicating that the PVC did not depolarize the sinus node. One RR is shorter than the others, PP interval, usually that's so regular. Then about the QRS shape and duration. Duration is 0.12 seconds or sometimes it's longer. Shape is bizarre and abnormal. See the shape of the QRS. Now at the P wave, the visibility of P wave depends on the timing of the PVC. The last type we mentioned like that there is no visibility of the P wave. That may be absent, hidden in the QRS or in the T wave or in front of the QRS. If the P wave follows the QRS, the shape of the P wave may be different. That's about the P wave. There may not be P wave, we can't observe the P wave, or if P wave follows the QRS, anyway its shape that may be different. PR interval, if P wave in the front of QRS, the PR interval is less than 0.12 seconds. But P and QRS ratio, that's all 0:1 or it can be 1:1. This is about the ECG criteria for PVCs in general. Now we think about the risk factors of PVC. From the signs and symptoms, it's clear for us the main risk is decreased cardiac output, reduced cardiac output. That's why there is chance for ventricular failure, heart failure is there. Again, one more risk or complication may convert to ventricular tachycardia. That last type, that we observe that may lead to ventricular tachycardia. Sometimes these simple premature ventricular contractions that may lead to ventricular fibrillations. This is about some complications or risk of this type of premature ventricular contractions. Now think about the treatment modalities, potential treatment modalities. The treatment is required when the premature ventricular contractions they are frequent, or the patient has intolerable symptoms. That times treatment is necessary. The person is asymptomatic, only observation is needed. Rule out the hypokalemia, hypoxemia. These two can trigger the PVCs. That's why you have to rule out hypokalemia and hypoxemia. Then how to administer oxygen and how to correct the electrolyte imbalances. That's the management for asymptomatic type. But in symptomatic type, it's due to myocardial infarction, the setting of an acute myocardial infarction, that PVC indicate the need to aggressively treat the ischemia or infarction with oxygen. That means in a patient having MI and we are observing PVCs on that ECG strip, immediately we have to provide adequate oxygen for the patient. There is aggressive need of, means severe need of oxygen is there. Chances for aggressive ischemia is there. Or how to provide nitroglycerin, morphine or potential antiarrhythmic drug that day. That's about the symptomatic management. About nursing priorities, assess the patient's response. If symptomatic or symptomatic, how to assess the patient's response. Many patients are asymptomatic. Some patients may feel palpitations or lightheadedness. So observe the patients. Interventions include assess the patient, oxygen administration that helps to reduce the PVCs, ablate the PVCs, start IV if it is not established. Then monitor the patient's PVC ECG strip. Any deterioration or serious effect, serious rhythm, we have to inform to the physician. That's about the nursing interventions. Okay, now we can completed one type of ventricular arrhythmia, that is premature ventricular contractions. Now we can move to the second main type, that's of ventricular tachycardia. Ventricular tachycardia. From the term itself it's clear for you, tachycardia, increased heart rate. That's defined as 3 or more consecutive P waves in a row at a rate that is greater than 100 beats per minute. PVCs occur in a row. The rate is above 100 beats per minute. This VT, that is generally caused by single foci in either ventricles that may fire at a rapid rate. That rapid rate can override the SA node rate. Thereby, they are controlling the heart rhythm. It's greater than the SA node rate means that ventricles, they are controlling the heart rhythm. So, this type of short run of consecutive P waves, that's often we call it as burst of VT. Burst of VT. ECG characteristics usually include rapid irregular rhythm. Rapid rhythm, irregular rhythm with a wide QRS. Because the QRS is wide means origin of the rhythm that is outside bundle branches too. Thereby, it takes a long time to conduct the impulses to cell within that ventricle. It's not going through the proper pathway. That's why there is wide QRS. Usually the ventricular tachycardias are monomorphic. Two types are there. Polymorphic and monomorphic. Then this type of ventricular tachycardia, sometimes it may sustain within 30 minutes. If it exceeds 30, not 30 minutes, okay, it's 30. Again, in this type of ventricular tachycardia, there is arterioventricular dissociation is present. But that is not always noticeable, the arterioventricular dissociation. This means that the sinus node is depolarizing the atria in a normal manner at a rate either equal to or slower than the ventricular rate. Thus, the sinus P wave sometimes can be recognized between the QRS complexes but do not conduct down to the ventricles. In that situation, the atrioventricular dissociation. Again, in this arrhythmia, it may be either well tolerated or associated with the life-threatening hemodynamic compromises. The hemodynamic consequences of VT that depend largely on the presence or absence of the myocardial dysfunction. That dysfunction means that result from myocardial ischemia or infarction. That dysfunction and on the rate of VT. Hemodynamic consequences depends upon the myocardial dysfunction and the rate of VT. The rate of VT, that means the faster the rate, the less well is tolerated. That's about the ventricular tachycardia. So observe the ECG strip of ventricular tachycardia. The rate that usually ranges from 100 to 250 beats per minute. Non-sustained or sustained. P waves often dissociated. Here dissociated P waves. ECG criteria include heart rate 100 to 250, ventricular rhythm regular, P waves may or may not be seen. If present, they are not associated with the QRS. Then AV dissociation occurs with this rhythm, but P waves are not always seen. PR interval it's not applicable. QRS width, that's greater than 0.12 seconds. Wide and bizarre QRS complexes. That's difficult to differentiate between the QRS and the T wave. That's the peculiarities of that ECG strip. Now see one more diagram of AV dissociation. In that atria and the ventricles act independently. That's of AV dissociation. Ventricular focus is there. SA node focus is there. Okay. Now we can see the mechanism of VT, ventricular tachycardia. We already studied about the mechanisms of arrhythmia. In that mechanisms of arrhythmia, three main mechanisms, that is the reentrant phenomenon, automatic phenomenon and triggered activity. These two included in the mechanism of VT. Reentry means reentry circuit, fast and slow pathway is confined to the ventricles or to the bundle branches. Automaticity, about automatic means automatic focus occurs within the ventricles. Then about the triggered activity, early after depolarizations in phase 3 and delayed after depolarizations in phase 4. You can observe in VT. Okay. Again you can observe two types of PVCs, monomorphic. Observe the diagram of monomorphic. Ventricular tachycardia may be monomorphic. That means all QRS with the same shape. That's all monomorphic. All QRSs are with the same shape. Now polymorphic. Okay. Now we can move to ventricular tachycardia. The reasons, the etiology or causes. Myocardial irritability, acute MI, CAD, drug toxicity, electrolyte imbalances and heart failure are considered to be the causes of ventricular tachycardia. Then move to the signs and symptoms. That's of chest discomfort, angina, syncope, lightheadedness, palpitations, shortness of breath, absent or rapid pulse, loss of consciousness and hypotension. These all considered to be the signs and symptoms. Now about the complication or the risk. Major cause of sudden cardiac death. Ventricular tachycardia is a very serious arrhythmia, can cause sudden cardiac death. Move to the treatment aspect. If there is no pulse, what you have to do? You have to begin with the CPR. Then how to follow the ACLS protocol. If there is a pulse and the patient is unstable, you have to cardiovert. Begin with the drug therapy. Amiodarone, lidocaine. With the chronic and recurrent VT, give antiarrhythmic. Long time VT needs ICD placement. Also, ablation is necessary for long term VT. Now think about the nursing priorities or nursing management. Priorities check how to check the pulse rate of the patient, how to monitor the blood pressure. That helps to understand whether the person is stable or unstable. Whether it is a pulseless low BP that is less than 90 VT. The treatment that depends upon the type of VT. If it is symptomatic type or asymptomatic type, how to observe that? Based on we are providing care for the patient. If it's unstable, prepare for immediate cardioversion. If pulseless, administer epinephrine, vasopressin followed by defibrillation. The nursing interventions for VT include assess your patient. If symptomatic, treatment must be aggressive and immediate. If pulse present or not, you have to observe. How to provide oxygen, put on IV line, monitor the patient very closely. The person is pulseless. How to ACLS protocols, call for a blue code, begin CPR, defibrillate the patient, start IV fluids with the normal saline and notify the physician. These all are the nursing interventions of ventricular tachycardia. This is one of the tachycardia we commonly face there in the cardiology ICUs and all. Patients, those who are there with any type of cardiac problems, can be myocardial ischemia or after any angioplasty or angiogram, any type of procedures, the patient, there is chance of developing this type of arrhythmia, that's ventricular tachycardia. Okay, we can move to next ventricular arrhythmia, that's idioventricular tachycardia or enhanced inherent idioventricular rhythm. That means it manifests the rate that is equal to the sinus rate. That's characterized by Bisser QRS complexes, or we can see the fusion beats, or rapid idioventricular rate, that's of 70 to 80 beats per minute. AV dissociation and capture beats you can see. Observe one diagram of capture beats. Okay, this idioventricular tachycardia or idioventricular rhythm, again we can call it as idioventricular escape rhythm. That occurs when the impulse starts in the conduction system below the AV node, when the sinus node fails to create an impulse, or when the impulse is created but cannot be conducted through the AV node. The Purkinje fibers automatically discharge the impulses. That's of idioventricular tachycardia. Once the Purkinje fibers automatically discharge the impulses, that's called the idioventricular tachycardia. Two etiologies behind that. One is that due to increased vagal tone, the sinus node fails to create the impulse, or due to complete AV block, the impulses are not conducted through the AV node. That time, the Purkinje fibers automatically discharges the impulse. That's called the idioventricular tachycardia. This is the last effort of the ventricles to try to prevent the cardiac standstill, asystole. No sinus impulse, no AV node is not passing through the AV node. So there is no impulse or no stimulus. That's why this is the last ditch effort of the ventricles to try to prevent the cardiac asystole or standstill. The SA node and AV node have already failed. Rate usually between 20 to 40 beats per minute in that rhythm. That time the cardiac output is compromised. Idioventricular rhythm. Observe an ECG strip of idioventricular rhythm. The main important keys to identify the rhythm is its slow, no PV, wide, Bisser, QRS. The three qualities: slow rhythm, no PV, wide, Bisser, QRS. Rate is 20 to 40 beats per minute. Rhythm usually that is regular. PV absent. About the length of the PR interval, that's not measurable. Wide Bisser, that means greater than 0.12 second QRS complexes, there is T wave deflection. These all are the ECG criteria about idioventricular rhythm. Now we can see about the causes of idioventricular rhythm. Mainly is due to some drugs, digitalis toxicity. Another cause is MI. Some metabolic imbalances can lead to idioventricular rhythm. Hyperkalemia leads to idioventricular rhythm. Then cardiomyopathy is another important etiology behind this idioventricular rhythm. About the signs and symptoms, patient may be pale, cold with motile skin, weakness, dizziness, hypotension, altered mental status. Usually, there is chance for loss of conscious level. And the patient will experience all the signs and symptoms of decreased cardiac output. Then about the risk factors. This is actually a usually a terminal event that occurring just before ventricular standstill, a systole. Just before the systole, on the ECG strip, you can observe this idioventricular rhythm. Clinically, this rhythm is very important. The next, once it progress means the next step is the standstill, ventricular standstill. There is chance for sudden death, sudden cardiac arrest. So observe the ECG and take immediate measures. Then about the treatment, atropine, immediate pacing, dopamine when patient is hypotensive. How to provide CPR? That's the first thing. CPR is same as that of pulseless electrical activity. The patient should not go to cardiac arrest. That's our aim during the management. We should not increase the cardiac workload. That's why provide complete bed rest for the patient. The nursing interventions of idioventricular rhythm include how to assess our patient, whether symptomatic or asymptomatic, how to observe. Only ECG strip is one criteria we can observe. Then feel the weak thready pulse. How to run the continuous monitor strips, or how to continuous record, how to maintain. Immediately how to begin the CPR. That's the first thing. What you have to do, you have to begin the CPR. Here also a CLS protocol called for code blue. Notify the physician. Start the IV fluid. These all are some nursing interventions what we can perform in order to solve this problem. Actually, this is a very critical arrhythmia. Now, we can move to another rhythm. That's I know I didn't mention in that classification as such. That's of agonal rhythm. Agonal rhythm. Agonal rhythm is a very critical rhythm. Is when the idioventricular rhythm is 20 beats or less per minute. Think other one is 20 to 40. Here 20 minutes of less beats of less per minute. Frequently seen as the last ordered imbalance of the heart rhythm when resuscitation efforts are unsuccessful. See a diagram of agonal rhythm. The standstill pattern you can see between only so ECG strip, the ventricular rate is less than 20. It's very slow. Usually that is regular. P waves absent. PR interval not measurable. Wide Bézier-Coulomb complex greater than 0.12 second with the T wave deflection. You can see about the causes of agonal rhythm. We can observe this type rhythm in severe trauma. There is increased blood loss, then acute MI, or it's a natural progression to death. Agonal rhythm. The death approaching patients, you can observe on the monitor this type of rhythm, this agonal rhythm. The signs and symptoms include loss of consciousness, no palpable pulse, no measurable BP. You just observe a patient approaching death. You monitor the wave pattern. You can see this agonal rhythm. The risk is death. It's no time for us to initiate a CPR. No, therefore it's a failure effort. The treatment is CPR and ACLS protocols. Once it's sometimes you are already attempted this type of CPR or ACLS protocols, still we can observe the same rhythm, agonal rhythm on the monitor. Further, there is no treatment. The patient is approaching death. Nursing interventions include sometimes there is a chance if any loose connection in the leads, that means the leads that come out of the patient means this type of standstill we can observe on the ECG monitor. That's why our responsibility go and observe whether all the leads are in position. If all the leads are in position and we are observing this pattern, call for a code blue. ACLS how to follow. Start the CPR. Notify the physician. The death is the expected outcome. Still you have to monitor the vital signs, record the rhythm progression, support the family members. This about this agonal rhythm. Actually, I didn't mention this rhythm during classification. Come with this idioventricular rhythm. That the rate is ventricular rate is less than 20. Now, opposite to that, one more opposite to this agonal rhythm, in this idioventricular rhythm, one more rhythm is there, that is accelerated idioventricular rhythm. Accelerated idioventricular rhythm. The accelerated idioventricular arrhythmia, that's also a last effort of the ventricles to try to prevent the cardiac standstill. SA node and AV node already failed. The rate is usually this accelerated idioventricular rhythm, the ventricular rate, that's usually between 40 to 100 beats per minute. That cardiac output is already compromised. Here observe an ECG strip of accelerated idioventricular rhythm. The rate is 41 to 100 beats per minute. In between that, you can observe the rate. Usually the rhythm that is regular, P waves are absent, PR interval not measurable, wide Bézier QRS complexes, T wave deflection. Now move to the causes of this accelerated rhythm. Drugs, digitalis, then metabolic imbalances, hyperkalemia, cardiomyopathy. Same way, signs and symptoms also. Weakness, dizziness, hypotension, alterations in mental status. Risk is death or cardiac arrest. Medical treatment also, same, atropine pacing, dopamine, CPR. Nursing intervention also, same like CPR, call for code blue, notify the physician. That accelerated, one more strip of, you observed one more strip of accelerated idioventricular rhythm. That you can observe an ectopic ventricular activation is there, sinus acceleration is there, all this energy is going. Then normal ventricular activation is there. Among that you can observe a fusion beat also. You can observe. Okay, we can move to next ventricular arrhythmia. That's all. Torsades de Pointes. Torsades de Pointes is associated with a prolonged QT interval. This usually terminates spontaneously but frequently recurs and may degenerate into ventricular fibrillation. That's the consequence. Degenerate to ventricular fibrillation. The hallmark of this rhythm is the upward and downward deflection of the QRS complexes around the baseline. The term Torsades de Pointes means twisting about the points. Baseline, then upward and downward QRS complexes, twisting about the points. This is a subtype of polymorphic ventricular tachycardia. You can observe rapid QRS axis shifting in this. That's twisting of the points. It's usually characterized by prolonged QT intervals. Sometimes it's initiated with a premature ventricular extrasystole occurring on or around the T wave of the preceding beat. See an ECG morphology. The QRS morphology is continuously changing. QRS complex is alternating from positive to negative. So in that ECG strip. See the rate is that's so 150 to 250. Rhythm can be regular or irregular. No P wave. PR interval not measurable. QRS complex, that's wide bezier deflecting downward and some deflecting upward. Come back to causes of Torsades de Pointes. It's associated with prolonged QT interval. That's a syndrome is there, congenital QT interval syndrome. That is the cause. Another is included, that's due to class 1A and 3 antiarrhythmic drugs. So often caused by the drugs conventionally recommended for treating the VT. Then antihistamine use. Some psychotropic medications. Phenothiazine or tricyclic antidepressants and overdose. This all can lead to this type of arrhythmia. Then electrolyte disturbances, especially hypokalemia and hypomagnesemia. This leads to Torsades de Pointes. Now think about the signs and symptoms of Torsades de Pointes. Chest pain, loss of consciousness, dizziness, nausea, shortness of breath. About the medical treatment, here also how to begin the CPR. Then call for the code. SCLS protocols you have to follow. Then how to eliminate the predisposing factors. The precipitating factors should be eliminated. Someday how to administer magnesium sulfate in bolus. Synchronized cardioversion is indicated when the patient is unstable and if not possible, for defibrillate. Risk is death. Nursing considerations include how to assess our patient, make sure that no lead misplacement from the patient, start CPR, call blue code, start IV fluid, must treat the cause. Now we can move to next ventricular arrhythmia, that's of ventricular fibrillation. Fib, the meaning, word meaning is coarse and fine, that's of ventricular fibrillation. That occurs as a result of multiple weak ectopic foci in the ventricles. It's due to multiple focus in the ventricles. No coordinated arterial or ventricular contractions. Electrical impulses initiated by the multiple ventricular sites. The impulses are not transmitted through the conduction pathway. Here and there it's going from the multiple sites, it's originating. It's a result of high irritable ventricles, which start sending rapid electrical stimuluses. The stimuluses are chotic, resulting in non-organized ventricular depolarizations. The ventricle do not contract because they never depolarize. Then is an example, shaking a ball that's full of gel. Suppose you are having a balloon having some gel inside, ball with gel. We are shaking that gel. Then gently shake the ball and wash the gel. At the time we feel a fibrillation. It will fibrillate. Gently shaking also there is a fibrillation in that ball. This is similar to what is happening within the heart. Because the ventricles are fibrillating, it's never contracting. The patient does not have a pulse. No cardiac output, no blood pressure. It's a very emergency and serious condition. That ventricle is never depolarized, that's why it can't contract. Think about the ball. We are just doing like that also. Like fibrillations we can observe. Two words we use, the coarse and fine. I used to describe the amplitude of the waveforms of ventricular fibrillation. The word meaning coarse. These waves are more easily seen and are usually greater than 3 millimeter in height. That means 3 small boxes tall, that's waves. Fibrillatory waves, 3 mm tall. These waves is an indication for there is a more recent onset of the ventricular fibrillation. If you are using defibrillation immediately, we can convert this. That's an indication, the coarse waves, 3 mm tall waves. If you are observing on the ECG monitor, there is an indication that there is a chance for ventricular fibrillation. Suddenly if you are defibrillating means can save. Then next word, that's of fine waves, fine, presence of fine wave. Which looks a bit like a systole, we can see. That's less than 3 mm in height. It's not a complete systole, bit like a systole. that means there is a considerable delay. So there is chance for a collapse. In this situation, find that is there means bit assistole. If we are seeing means if you are doing CPR also, it's very difficult for us to save the life. That's the indication of this bit assistole. See the ECG strip. You can observe the criteria: heart rate, none, discernible P waves or QRS complexes. No heart waves. We can't see anything. Then rhythm, chotic wave recording, no discernible rhythm. P waves, it's not there. PR interval, not applicable. QRS with that also not applicable. See the rhythm. Very serious rhythm. Ventricular fibrillation. See another diagram. This is an important condition. That's why you observe one more diagram. Okay, now we can move to the possible causes of acute this ventricular fibrillation. That's of acute MI, untreated ventricular tachycardia, underlying heart diseases, any heart diseases, acid-base imbalance, electrolyte imbalances such as hypokalemia, hyperkalemia and hypercalcemia. These all are some causes. Now move to the signs and symptoms. That's loss of consciousness and absent pulse is the main symptom. Risk, nothing. Death is the possibility. There is chance for complication is death. Now, about the medical treatment, immediately you have to start with the CPR. Immediate defibrillation. CPR with the defibrillation. Initiate a CLS algorithm. Initial treatment is always defibrillation only. This is the definitive therapy for this fibrillation. Other priorities that include securing an airway, making sure the patient has an IVSS, then administering medications as per the protocols. Anyway, defibrillation is very important. A bit of assistole, if you are observing that time itself, you must give defibrillation. That's too late. Now about the nursing interventions. Assess your patient. So, how to observe the patient. If there is any pattern changes on the monitor, our responsibility is how to observe the patient and see the leads are in proper position. So there may be many things can mimic like the ventricular fibrillation. So there is some shivering for the patient, means there is chance for that diagram representation as ventricular fibrillation. So observe the patient, that's very important. Next, anyway, treatment must be very aggressive and should be very immediate. CPR, ACLS, cord, blue, how to call, then defibrillate, start the IV fluids, notify the physician. Next, priorities include how to check the airway, breathing, pulse, and first you have to give basic life support. The sooner the patient defibrillated, the more likely of achieving spontaneous circulation. longer the patient is in VF, the more difficult it is to convert the rhythm. Always remember that thing. So immediate action and immediate defibrillation is only the method. Then only we can save the life from ventricular fibrillation. Next, we can see about the last rhythm, that's a ventricular standstill or asystole. To ventricular standstill or asystole. Ventricular standstill or asystole means, I already explained in some areas, like means ventricular activity, no ventricular activity or absence of ventricular activity for more than few seconds. There may be this atrial activity, can be evidenced by some P-wave heights. But there is complete heart block and that impulses are not reaching the ventricles. Or subsidiary pacemaker, means main pacemaker failed, the subsidiary pacemaker failed. Sometimes the main pacemaker is active, the subsidiary pacemakers is failed. There is no arterial or ventricular activity. This is an emergency and requires immediate attention, as this rhythm is actually fatal. We can't restore a normal rhythm so easily. Asystole differences represents the total absence of the electrical activity of the heart. In order to assure there is no electrical activity, how to check the rhythm in a second and make sure your monitor is working properly. You can just a frank line, you can see that. So you monitor the system is working properly. This may occur as a primary event in cardiac arrest, or it may follow a VF. It's very difficult to differentiate between a fine VF and this asystole. Just now I told about a fine VF. Cora is fine, two words. The fine VF and asystole. Difficult to differentiate. Reach. If no organized, the QRS complexes is seen and the patient has a pulse, then ECG is improperly connected. So we observe any improper connection for the ECG. See the ECG pattern of this ventricular standstill. Nothing is there. What is the rate none, rhythm none, P wave before QRS complex no, PR interval none, QRS complexes none. Nothing is there. That's all. See the ventricular standstill. Everything is on the baseline. About the treatment of ventricular standstill, that also there is more chances for the death. Now you can say about the causes. Extensive myocardial damage secondary to failure of high pacemakers. Then cardiac tamponade, prolonged ventricular fibrillation, pulmonary embolism, severe metabolic deficit, acute respiratory failure, ruptured ventricular aneurysm. These all are some etiological factors behind this asystole or standstill. Signs and symptoms include non-palpable pulse, no measurable BP, loss of consciousness. Patient is unconscious. The risk means death, already dead like that. Treatment potential. Treatment include continue the CPR, secure the airway, then IVSS, search for any possible causes for this type of rhythm. Implement medication therapies as per ACLS guidelines, medicine administration, then CPR continue, how to follow the ACLS protocol. Make sure that there is no loose leads or leads are not come out of the patient. Check rhythm in a second. If the patient is pulseless, have to initiate CPR, call for help. Then ultimately we can say like that treatment requires an evaluation of the underlying cause. Sometimes if the patient survey means he needs a permanent pacemaker. Implantation of permanent pacemaker is necessary. This about ventricular standstill or asystole. Now one more arrhythmia we can see, that's so pulseless electrical activity, PEA. Mechanism is not normal, that's so pulseless electrical activity, absence of palpable pulse and absence of myocardial muscle activity with the presence of organized electrical activity on the cardiac monitor. Organized activity is there on the cardiac monitor, but there is absence of palpable pulse and absence of palpable myocardial muscle activity. The patient is clinically dead despite some type of organized rhythm on the monitor. That's pulseless electrical activity. Patient is already gone, dead, but a type of organized rhythm on the monitor. I just mentioned here that also, that's why. That is due to some causes is written for, sometimes due to some particular causes also we can observe this pulseless electrical activity there. Hypolemia, hypoxia, hydrogen acidosis, hyperkalemia, hypothermia, toxins, cardiac tamponade, tension pneumothorax, thrombosis, coronary or pulmonary thrombosis, trauma, massive MI, overdose of high and this tricyclic antidepressants. In these situations, we can observe this pulseless electrical activity. Signs and symptoms is clear. There is no pulse, loss of consciousness, no palpable BP. Risk death is death. No cardiac activity is associated with this rhythm. No cardiac activity is there. If something alive means, patient is alive means, determine the cause and treat the patient, give CPR, initiate ACLS protocols. Nursing responsibility, aggressively how to manage the condition, immediate care should be given if the patient is alive. CPR, ACLS, to continuous the monitors. This is about this pulseless electrical activity. We just covered all ventricular rhythms, arrhythmias. So among the arrhythmias, very complicated and very risky arrhythmias are ventricular arrhythmias. In that also ventricular tachycardia and ventricular fibrillation, that's very important. Study properly. Thank you.